Brand, I think college football is like at its peak right now. Like what we are seeing right now in this 24-25 season, outside of the fact that we are Michigan fans, is an outstanding brand of football. Excitement. So many of the big dogs have already taken a loss, whether that be Bama or Georgia, Ohio State taking a loss this weekend. I mean, dude, this is a beautiful brand for college football in the year that they expand to a 12-team college football playoff. And so, Brant, I need to know from you right now at this point of the season, kind of that halfway mark, what are your predictions? Who are kind of your teams here right on the outside that you're like, I'd keep an eye on them? And who are the ones that you feel like are like your top clear favorites to win it all?
So, Dave, I have mocked up my 12-team playoff halfway through the season. I want to give you my first top four seeds. These are the teams that will have the buys. These are the automatic qualifiers. I'm going 1, Texas. I'm going 2, Penn State. I'm going 3, Clemson. I'm going 4, Iowa State. Let me talk quickly about Texas and Penn State. I think Texas may take a loss during the season. They obviously get Georgia here in the next couple of weeks. That's a big game. They host, or actually they go to Texas A&M at the end of the season. That's a tricky spot. Maybe they lose in the conference championship, but they, as an automatic qualifier, I got them winning it. So give me 1 for Texas. 2, I love what Penn State's doing. I mean, they got challenged this weekend at USC. This was a weird James Franklin move where he won a game that was close on the road. Something he hasn't done a ton in the past. Clemson, resilient bunch. ACC is down real bad. They're down bad. We'll get into the future about what's going to happen to the ACC and the Big 12. Iowa State undefeated. They've already beaten Iowa, who looks pretty good. Iowa beat Washington this weekend. So give me Iowa State to win the Big 12. Dave, and then I got 5. I want your thoughts on this. Oregon being the 5th team. Do you like how the 5 seed gets treated in this tournament, Dave, as compared to maybe the 1 seed? I mean, the 5 seed is going to get a home game, and they're going to host, whoever that might be, and then they get to play the 4 seed, which is going to be the worst of the Power 4 teams. What's your thought on the 5 seed, Dave? Do you like that spot for a team?
I don't love it, and I'll tell you what, Brant. What I don't love is I'm just looking at this from a March Madness standpoint. I love it in terms of like the setup of like the games they're actually going to be able to play, and you just laid that out. But dude, there is something about, and I don't know if it's the college basketball in me of just like, and I know you're going to get into who sort of these like 10, 11, 12 seeds are. That 12 seed playing the 5, I just feel like that is a hard game to get up for, and then knowing what you're going to play next. So I don't know.
Okay, Dave, now I'm going to hop down. I'm going to hop right to the 12 seed, and I'm going to tell you who's going to play Oregon. So I've got Army traveling to Austin.
That's what I'm saying.
And how amazing, like, wouldn't that just be like a cool game to watch? Like, I understand Army's going to be probably a 14, 17-point underdog, but that is not a team that you want to see late in the season, oddly enough, that maybe you're beat up. It's going to be cold out there in Oregon. Could be a tough game. You don't know. A couple fumbles here, a couple fumbles there. Army tick, 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 tick with the clock. Could be a very low possession type game.
You're going to tell me like your Armies or Boise States, dude, I'm just telling you, there's going to be some, especially in this year in college football, there's going to be some excitement. I do not think that this is going to be a dominant, it's football and the best team always win, like 5 beats 12 and 6. No, I don't think it's going to be that way at all. There's some good football teams right there, and Army's one of them. I know some people
absolutely.
laugh at that. If you have followed funny. Army at all this year, or a Boise State who's got the best running back in the country, like you may want to start tuning in.
So, that leads me to my Boise State, who would be the 11 seed. I think they're good enough to go undefeated the rest of the way. They win the Mountain West, and they're going to be the 11 seed, and they're going to go travel to Georgia. I mean, like, what a great game that would be. Can they slow down Ashton Genty? Jalen Miller ran all over him, Dave. So tell me that, Boise wouldn't have a chance down there, and then we go Ohio State, bringing in Tennessee. What a Jersey matchup. What a fantastic 2 I don't know if you want to say blue bloods, whatever, Dave, but two fantastic brands that would meet up in a playoff game. And then Alabama and Indiana. I mean, crimson on crimson. Who doesn't love to see Indiana in the college football playoff? But, Dave, if you look at their schedule, Indiana, they host Michigan, which, Dave, I know, I know this hurts us to say, but this could be a potential huge win for Indiana at home. They then go to Ohio State. I don't think they get the dub at Ohio State, but they still play like Nebraska and Washington. I like them to win those games. They still play Purdue. I like them to win that game. A one-loss Indiana, how are you going to keep them out of the college football playoff, Dave? You answer that question.
I hate my life as a Michigan fan this year. That I'm sorry. You're right. I just am looking at this like, ugh, what could have been? What could have been?
No kidding. And I mean, as a 12-team playoff, we expect to be there every year, and it's a major disappointment that we most likely won't be there this year, Dave. However, what great matchups, man. And you get the home environments this year. We don't have to suffer through crappy bowl games to get to the good games. We hit it right before Christmas. I mean, come on, what better gifts could we get?
No, you're right. You're right. All right, I want to recap this so far. So Brant's got seeds 1 through 4 would be Texas, Penn State, Clemson, Iowa State. He's just laid out number 5 Oregon and number 12 Army. So I want to move next to you. Already mentioned Boise State there at 11. Who do you got at 6?
Oh, I've got Georgia there. I believe that the Georgia Boise State matchup would be absolutely electric. You know, we talked about Genty a little bit already, Dave. If he's not in the running for the Heisman, like he's got to be in the running for the Heisman, I would assume. Like I understand it's a small town school, but this guy is just and Dave. I mean, you don't draft running backs in the top 10 picks, 15 picks. That's frowned upon. No, this is a guy you absolutely go out and get, man.
Oh, and can we? The Heisman should be like if you remove Ashton Genty off the Boise State, they're not Boise State. Okay, that's what the Heisman is all about. Now it's become the quarterback award, like who's the best quarterback in the country on the team that wins the most games. Like that's basically what the award has been. But that dude absolutely needs to be there at that podium. And if he keeps clipping at this pace, it's like every time I check a box score, he just ran it 30 times for 250 yards. Oh, by the way, he didn't play like the second half. Like just
Right.
crazy kind of stuff. But that would be an awesome matchup. What about 7-10?
So that's going to be Ohio State, Tennessee. I think that's going to be a fantastic matchup. Like I already said about the jerseys, that's a blue blood type game. I love Tennessee's offense, but their defense is really good too. But Heupel, he's kind of struggled to have the hurry up offense this year. We'll see what happens. Obviously, Ohio State takes a tough loss out at Autzen. I still think Ohio State might be the best team in the country, Dave. It is very tough to see them go away from the run a little bit. I think we're running all over Oregon. They go away from it a little bit, and a lot of fans were like, "Is Ryan Day calling plays again? Like, what's going on here?" But if you want to bring in the highly touted receivers, you have to throw the ball, and that's where they're at right now. Even though they have two stud running backs, and then the 8-9 matchup, Alabama Indiana. I think that's a fantastic matchup as well. But I have one question for you, Dave. After seeing my playoff, if you notice anything about the Big Ten and the SEC, 4 teams each. Before we wrap up, I want to know your thoughts on if it's going to continue to be trending this way, and I think everybody can kind of admit, hey, you're going to see maybe 4 teams from each of these conferences every year. What does the future of college football look like to you?
I think the answer is sitting right there in front of us. I think it is. This is a changing landscape, and I do see, and you're seeing these little things happen in the background with the Big Ten and the SEC with these networks and this talk of these two super conferences. Like, I don't know how it all shakes out and looks in terms of a college football playoff and all of that, but we are absolutely headed towards an expansion of those conferences, in my opinion. And college athletics are going to look very, very different than what we've been accustomed to seeing.
Dave, I'm sure you may have not seen this, but Mike Gundy from Oklahoma State, he talked about how badly the sport needs a commissioner, and just how bad they need a scheduling format, and just how bad they need to get rid of this Big 12. And he's like, I play in the Big 12, and I don't want to see it go away. But listen, Big 10 and SEC, they have all the money. They have the networks. They have all the things that we need. And us as Oklahoma State, if we don't want to be left behind, we have to figure this out. Like, we need the commissioner to come in and say, hey, this is what we're doing, and this gets figured out. And he even goes as far to say, Nick Saban, you're my guy. Why don't you step into that role? He's going to look out for what's best in the sport, really, though.
No, I know. I know. It is, look, this has been the problem all along. They lack leadership. Nobody takes the NCAA serious. We know that. So yeah, it will be very interesting. It's fun to talk about a 12-team college football playoff. And if Michigan's not going to be in it, give me some madness. Like, give me some craziness.
Give me Army.
Give me Army. Give me Boise State. Like, that is why I am showing up at the end of the season to watch these games and just hope for some upsets. And, just this alone, and then we can wrap up this segment here. Like, follow, subscribe. Let us know what you think down in the comments about where these 12 teams currently are at, and maybe who's just on the outside of this that you could see sneaking in as well. But look, just the fact that I'll tell you, as a diehard Michigan fan, who I want nothing more than to see Michigan in this every year from here on out, after this year, obviously, I can stay engaged in college football knowing that I've got this 12-team college football playoff on the horizon. Because let's just be honest, with the 4-team setup, I'm checked out at that. Like, I'm checked in because I'll watch it, but I don't really care. And the bowl games are all pointless to me. So yeah, give me all of this, though. You lay this out, and we're talking about Army, Oregon. Like, yep, I'm here for that. I'll have my popcorn ready, and I'm ready to go. And that, for that reason alone, I would say that for all the issues that college football has, this is a pretty good step in the right direction.